how you can respond to constructive/negative feedback. We've all been there. We've gotten negative feedback, constructive feedback, and perhaps our first reaction is, that's not true, just being defensive. I know that I've been there. And yet, if we're defensive, it can actually harm the relationship, or can signal to that person giving us feedback, it's not okay to give feedback, and they might not want to do it in the future. So I'm going to share with you 3 stages on how to respond to constructive feedback. The first stage is when it's happening, when that person is giving you feedback. So the first thing you do is thank them for the feedback and acknowledge that it can be difficult to give feedback. The second step is to ask clarifying questions. Now, it's really important that when you ask these clarifying questions, not to be defensive. These clarifying questions are really to help get examples. So, hey, can you give me an example of when I did that? Sometimes they actually can't come up with examples. So they might say, oh, you're always rude. And yet when you say, can you give me an example of that? They're not able to give you an example. Clarifying questions is helpful for both sides. And then the third step is to ask for time. Say thank you. Maybe you ask some clarifying questions if you needed to, and then say thank you, I need some time to process. And you might say, hey, I need a few days, I might need a week, whatever that time is, just to let them know that you need to step away and to think about this on your own. It's key to have processing time, and that's stage 2, to process what they said and not to process that with them, because you need time to cool off. So the first step here is to remind yourself that their feedback is not a personal attack. The second step is to think about why you do that thing that they're criticizing you for. So for example, maybe they say that you are always so blunt. And then you ask yourself, why am I so blunt? And that might be, oh, well, because I feel that we just don't have that much time together and I just have to go straight to the chase. It might also be reflecting on, well, that's the way that I was raised, and that's the way that my parents talk to me, and the way that my managers have talked to me, and that's why I do that. Number 3 is to then process with other people. Now, this is not to just seek validation or comfort. This is to ask for other people's opinions and interpretations on that behavior. Some people may say, oh yeah, you are really blunt. I just thought that's the way that you were, but actually sometimes I find it abrasive too. And other people may say, oh, well, that's not as blunt as other people that I know. It's just important to hear that there are different opinions and interpretations of that behavior. And number 4 is you have to decide what you're going to do with it. Are you going to take it? Are you going to leave it? Or are you just going to adjust your behavior for that one person? So for example, you may say, okay, I'm going to be careful about how I speak and not be blunt with this one person. I'm not going to make a universal change though. It's important not to try to react too quickly, because you may go, oh, I have to change, or you may be defensive. And it's just important to pause and reflect and process. And then the third stage is to have a conversation with that person about what you've learned about yourself in this process. So all of this is practicing curiosity with yourself. This has been a brief video explainer, and you can find a more detailed account in the curiositybase.com blog. Now, I want you to think about when you will use these techniques next when you're getting that constructive feedback. And I'd love to hear your story in an example in the answers in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do click that like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And also turn on that notification bell so you can get alerts to when we're releasing new content. Once again, my name is Pham, and this has been the Curiosity Based channel.